Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the R Show. Tonight we are talking about eBay's fall updates and the eBay bash for the 20 years with Miss Cindy Sorley. As you can see, Mr. Cooltoes is not with me tonight. He had a family emergency come up and he couldn't make it in time. So Cindy and I will be doing our best to catch the question. So if you can bear with us and everything else, I know there's quite a few questions. I have some of my own. So, with that being said, Cindy, why don't you introduce yourself to the people and let them know a little bit about yourself? Can you hear me, Cindy?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I had to turn off the other one, so you're going to have to ask the questions
Well, I was just telling you to introduce yourself and let the people know a little bit about yourself since they may not know you too well.
Okay, so my name is Cindy Sorley. I live in Layton, Utah, mother of two. Been married 33 years, and I have a 27-year-old and a 13-year-old. And I run one of the largest online needlework stores on eBay and one of the largest on Facebook. So I've been doing it for 33 years. I have a degree in nursing and gave up nursing to sell needlework supplies. So I sell mostly counted cross stitch, some needlepoint, that kind of stuff, but my specialty is counted cross stitch.
Okay. So you got a degree in nursing. How long have you been into reselling itself?
Well, I've had a number of needlework stores. I've had a store in Colorado, in Parker, Colorado, and I've had 3 stores here in Utah. And I was also a chain buyer for a large chain for their needlework supplies in New Jersey back in the early 80s. But I started out in 1982 selling to military Marine officers' wives who couldn't get supplies. And it just kind of continued everywhere we moved with my husband's airline career. And I started selling on eBay after I had my little boy in 2001. I'd been a buyer since 98, and I started selling in 2000 and then started selling part-time 2001, 2002, and then we decided to close the store when he was about 2.5 or 3, and I've been selling full-time since then on eBay.
Huh. Okay. And so I'm taking you work by yourself.
No, I have employees. I have one employee that works 28 hours a week. Then my husband also helps me, and my 27-year-old son helps out, but he also has his own eBay store and also sells on my Facebook group, one of my Facebook groups.
Okay. If you want, you can let everybody know your Facebook group, depending on how many people you want in on it, because I know you like to keep things small when you're starting out.
Yeah. I know there's a couple of my admins are in the chat, and I can't see the chat because I kept getting echoes. And so I will have them post it. I own 9 or 10 now Facebook buy and sell groups that have been very successful. They are for counted cross stitch, sewing patterns, fabrics, rubber stamps, toys and baseball cards, postcards, needlepoint. I can't think of what else. And they've been very successful. Our cross stitch group is our biggest. We have about 2,400 members, but we're growing the others. And also, if you follow us, we're going to be doing a Facebook group called Buy and Sell Groups.com, and that'll list all the Facebook groups where we do buy and sell. And we've been very, very successful with that. It's been unbelievable.
Well, as we were talking before the show started, I have to get myself into listing on that pattern group, so I can get some of that sales going through too.
That'll be great.
Okay, for people that don't know, what was your greatest sale and what was your worst?
Gal, I don't know. You know, I've had a lot of worst sales where when I first started out, I did the 99-cent auctions, not knowing any different. And that didn't last very long because the item sold for 99 cents. And I said, screw that. I'm not doing that anymore. So now my policy is I list, if I'm going to do an auction, I start it at the lowest price that I'll take for the item and not complain if that's what I get. But I'm not a 99-cent auctioneer at all. I don't believe in it. and it's never been, I mean, it's been successful for me in some ways, but overall, you know, I'm not going to risk the one person looking for my item, because you've got to have two people out there fighting for it. And I think the best thing I've probably ever sold was a cross stitch kit that I picked up for $1 at a garage sale, came home, threw it up on auction that evening. And in fact, I think I had it listed in the car by the time I left the garage sale, and it ended up selling for $592.
Wow.
Now, I've sold other things that have made more money, but that one was exciting because you just don't think that you're going to sell that kind of thing. I knew it was valuable, but I didn't know it was that valuable.
Yeah, it's one thing I can say about you. You're known for listing things as soon as you get it on your phone in your car.
Yeah, I list everything 100% mobile, and I want to give a shout out to the eBay mobile team, because they've basically taken the whole app that I've been beta testing for almost 10 years, and they had to rebuild it completely because they had to be ready for the future, because the program is so robust. So there's a lot of complaints out there about how the app is not great and it's not user-friendly. We saw at eBay 20 how user-friendly it's going to be and how we're going to be able to personalize. I have 100% support and hope in this app because I helped build it. So if you have complaints, I helped build that app. I told them what I wanted because I'm 100% user. I use it for shipping, except for international, because it doesn't do that yet. I use it for all correspondence, and I use it for all listing.
So there you go, people. You have problems with the app, talk to Cindy.
That's right. Talk to me. So another thing that I want to encourage people to is really check it out. Check out that app before because it's such a change. It doesn't look like the old app. It's got new tabs for selling and buying where everything was together before. So give it a chance. That's all I ask.
Okay. I've seen that they're having a hard time putting the links into the chat. So what I'm going to do is ask Cindy after the show or like during the week, if you can give me a list of the groups, and I'll add them into the description below.
That'll be great. That'll be great.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Well, before I get right into the topic, because you said you have a business idea, situation you guys take care of before it's too late. But how is your things selling going with Coolio?
Well, the thing is we have a really hard time because of Vero, the verified, the copyright thing on eBay, because someone already has the name Coolio. So we got Coolio's Closet, but we're having an issue because we have to verify everything for him. And so we're hoping to start October 1st with adding more items into his store, but we're still trying to get the Coolio name. Someone's got it, they're not using it, and it's a legal issue.
Oh boy. Okay, well.
But I'm also going to be starting a store with the country group that I used to work for, Shenandoah. They're back together. They broke up in '98, and they're back together. And I just talked to them last night, and they're going to be starting a store selling all of their stuff also, and I'll be helping them with that.
Well, I was going to say, you're going to be the helper to the stars of eBay.
Yeah, that's my new business, I guess.
I'll see if there's any questions in the comments. Let's see. Okay. Carolyn, you can Facebook me the listing if you want, and I will add it after the show. Let's see. Well, I'm looking. I'll start with this question. Can you explain what went into the fall updates for eBay, and would you consider them good or bad for sellers?
First of all, I'm going to say, after being on eBay since 1998, selling as a buyer since 1997, I have to say this is one of the best updates I've seen for sellers. I think it's incredible. And what it's going to do is there's only going to be 2 items that count as defects. And those are, if you're if you're, I can't even talk today, if you do not resolve an issue with your buyer, so what's going to happen is if you, so say your buyer writes you and says that that your item did not arrive and you don't work it out with your buyer, then what's going to happen is you're going to get a defect for that. So my suggestion is if they say, hey, I didn't get my item or it's broken, work it out. Work it out. And it's part of the new, what they call seller standards. And I think it's amazing. And that's one thing. And so the other thing is buyer feedback will no longer count as a defect rate for you, or your detailed seller ratings, your DSRs will not count. So if you get a request for a return and you successfully resolve it, you won't have a defect. And then also if you get that item that's not received and you successfully resolve it, you will not get a defect. This is huge, huge. So the other one is, this is even bigger, and this is where sellers really need to be careful. The other thing that's going to get you a defect is if you don't resolve that issue, but also if you cancel orders. And as a buyer on the site, there's nothing that makes me madder than expecting an item and then a couple of days later I get, oh, I have to cancel your order because I'm out of it or something. So the number one thing you need to do before this starts in February is you need to make sure you are on top of your inventory. You need to go into your selling manager, do an active listing, do it alphabetical, or do it however you have it stored by categories. Make sure you have every item accounted for. Because if you have a seller cancellation because you're out of an item, or you've got an item that you found is broken and you have to cancel, you're going to get a defect. And I thank eBay for doing that on a buyer standpoint, because sellers don't need them. Sellers won't get it. You know, there's no reason to cancel an order if you can keep track of your inventory and make sure that it's not broken, not sure that it's not missing. Keep count on your inventory, and you've got a few months to do that. Do it and get it going.
Okay, we do have a question from Thrift Daddy. He was asking, what type of things does your son sell?
My son sells Rock Tour t-shirts, Denver Broncos memorabilia, and he sells all of the cross-stitch and toll painting books that I don't have room to sell. Like, I have so much, I'll just go, here's a box. And I'll hand him a box, and sometimes I don't know what the value of that box is. And he's like, Mom, really? And I'm like, yeah, just take it, because I have so much. And he's done really well. But his thing is he goes to closeouts of stores. His best seller this year has been divorce papers that he bought at the closeout when Office Depot went out. And he got these divorce forms for $1. He's selling them for $29.99. And he bought 100 of them for $1 a package, and he sold out completely.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. You were at the eBay bash.
I
was not in the seller update that they talked about that you may be able to pass on to the viewers here.
There was a number of things that were talked about. The new changes that are going to happen in the mobile app are we're going to be able to personalize what we want to see first. Right now, it's what eBay has set up to what everybody's platform looks the same on the mobile app. We'll be able to change it around. Like when I wake up in the morning, I want to know how many messages I have and how many items I have to ship, because I call it Plan My Day. And right now I can see that, but I want that to be like right when I get there. And there's another thing on there that says sell your item. It's so big and so bulky. I just want it to say sell my item, and I want to move it down, because if I want to go sell, I don't need to see that right when I turn on my app. There's other things I'd like to see. That was huge. The biggest thing for me, the biggest takeaway, is that Jordan Sweatman, the vice president of sales, I don't know his exact title, he said that they are considering having a tier level store between premium and anchor. And this is huge, because those that pay $59 or $69 a month versus those of us that pay $199 a month could be huge, because right now I've only got 1,500 listings. And for those people that have, between 500 and, 1,000 or 500 to 1,500 listings, that's a big savings. Because if you've got, if you're on a $59.99 level and then you go over where it's beneficial, then you start paying per listing. So this could be huge. I don't know when it's going to happen. Jordan didn't know, but they are in talks for it.
Okay. Okay, you kind of talked about what to do ahead of time for February's changes, but what about the current standards? Like, when are they going to say, okay, it's going to be like a cutoff, so people don't necessarily lose their store before the changes of the standards?
Now, the reason why they had to go all the way to February is because they want to do it worldwide, and they need that amount of time to do all of that, to hit it on all the countries, Australia, UK, all the countries that have it. So they want to do it globally for everybody at the same time. But what you can do right now is make sure that you are top rated seller right now. Get into practice if you don't ship. Okay, one thing to keep in mind, to keep top rated seller, you're going to have a 30-day return policy and 1-day shipping. Get in the habit of doing that and start changing all your listings right now to 30-day return policy. And I have it on all of mine, and I'll tell you how many returns I've had in the last 5 years. One return, and it was because the lady got the pattern and she messaged me and said it was so difficult for her. She didn't realize it was that difficult, and could she return it? I said, absolutely. She returned it, and you should have seen her little handwriting like she had Parkinson's. It was, and I felt so badly for her that I sent her a free pattern to say, I hope this is okay and that you can do this. This isn't that difficult. But don't be thinking that return policy is going to get a whole bunch of people to return items. They don't do it, And so there's a lot of people out there that go, well, I don't want to be forced to have a 30-day return policy. Then don't. But you know what? I'm going to have that return policy, and I'll get your business. And that's kind of like my attitude. And so start changing all your listings. You can bulk edit them to 30-day return policy. I have 60 on all of mine. And also start making sure you've got that inventory. That is huge. And for a lot of people that have a lot of listings, it could take a lot of time to get that set up.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to see if there's any more questions. Well, I'll ask this question while I look. Can you explain the proposed changes to the shipping metrics? Like, is the timing from scanned or for scanned or for delivered? Like, when you hand it to the post office, or is it by the time it gets to the buyer?
Okay, so it's kind of complicated and it's hard to explain. I wish I had David Rayer on here because he's so good at explaining this. So if you have a post office like David Rayer has that does not scan online postage, his post office just refuses to do it. If there is a scan along the way and it is delivered in the time frame of what eBay estimates, then you are completely fine. There's also going to be, when a buyer goes to leave feedback, it'll say, did the item arrive in the estimated time frame? If they hit yes, you are completely fine. Now, if you have an item that is not scanned anywhere along the line and your customer does not leave feedback, it will not count against you. So, and they don't file a claim. So if they don't file a claim, do not leave feedback, and it's not scanned anywhere along the line, then you're not going to get a defect. But say, for example, I have 1-day shipping. I show that it got to my acceptance center in that 1 day. The next day, say they bought it 1 day, I had until the next day to get it out. It went to my acceptance center, but it was not scanned anywhere else along the way, and it took 10 days to get there, but it did arrive. It does count because I got it out in my time frame. Even though there was a delay, I'm not going to get a defect for it.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask this question later, but since I just brought it kind of with the Pope coming out to the East Coast on the 25th through the 27th, is eBay going to be covering some of the sellers that may have to send stuff out then? because they're going to be blocking off the USPS is not going to be able to deliver necessarily everywhere.
Now, I don't know what that is. Is on the 26th and 27th of this month?
Yes.
So what is it?
The Pope is coming out for his papal visit.
I do not know what's going on with that. I don't know if they're going to say that's a delay for people, getting to the post office in New York. I have not heard a thing on that.
Okay.
Usually they'll take into consideration like floods and hurricanes and thunderstorms. I don't know if the Pope gets that kind of privilege.
Well, that might bother some sellers then, and some buyers, because if they're waiting for a product and you did priority mail and it doesn't get there until 3 days later.
Well, if it shows up as being scanned on in their time frame of when they were going to ship it, then there should be no problem.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if that'll go into effect until February, but that is worth, if you do see a defect, that's worth calling and saying, hey, the Pope was in town and there was a delay.
Yeah, especially when the USPS site says there may be a delay.
Yeah.
In certain areas of the country, East Coast, anywhere from Philadelphia to New Jersey and part of New York City.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. So yeah, if they are announcing it, then I'm sure eBay will take that into account.
Okay. Thrift Daddy asked the question, where do you source cross-stitch stuff from generally?
Okay, I have 3 sources. 80% of my business is wholesale. And the reason why I get it by wholesale is I've been in the business since 1982. So I've established wholesale accounts with many designers over the years. A lot of designers do not like to have their items sold only online. They like to have brick and mortars. But because I've been in the business for so long, I'm able to establish, I'm able to maintain those. The other is I buy out hoards or closed needlework stores. I've bought out a number of closed needlework stores, and I recently flew to Missouri and picked up a huge hoard of a lady that had passed away, and it was massive. And then I also do buy at thrift stores. I sometimes make a run into the store to see if there's any cross stitch patterns or needlework kits, and run out. But it seems that all my admins seem to know when I'm doing that, and they tell me, no, you have enough inventory.
Okay, so I have one more question. Total Trader asked, do you sell on Etsy?
I do sell on Etsy, but not very much. Etsy's kind of got it doesn't have the traffic that I can get on eBay. I'll just say that. I've sold quite a bit, but it's just too much effort for me.
Sorry about that. My cat's over here whining at me. Okay, have you looked into or signed up for the eBay Seller Hub that they're going to be coming out with?
Yes, I was. We signed up at the event, but I had signed up prior to it earlier because I was asked to possibly be on the beta, and I don't know if I didn't get picked or if they're having it or what. So I'm excited about the hub because we'll be able to do inventory control. We'll be able to do traffic reports. We'll be able to go back further on looking at, closed listings and transactions. It'll be a lot like the Selling Manager Pro for those that have it, but it'll have a lot more to it. And I'm excited about it. I think this is a huge step for eBay. And I unfortunately didn't go to the Seller Hub breakout session they had because I wanted to go to the mobile session because that's my love. And so I missed that breakout, but from everybody that went to it, they were really excited.
Okay. Yeah, I signed up for it when they sent me the email, so I'm hoping
Yeah, it should roll out. It should roll out by the end of October for people in the United States. So
let's have. I'm not seeing any other questions as of right now. And I'm sorry, people, if I'm missing it. Now you see why I have Mr. Cool Toes to help me with questions. Not that I don't want to look, but I also need to concentrate on the guests. Okay, can you explain the difference between top rated and top rated plus? And then I have another question after that.
Okay, so I'm gonna play really dumb because I don't know the difference between the two. I just know that top rated is if you meet all the requirements of the 90% online tracking. Now that's all going to change, because the numbers are going to come down because the requirements are going down on all of this. But top rated plus is if you don't have more than your defect rate is down and your tracking is in line and you don't have closed cases and you don't have unsolved seller resolutions. And so I've never really been asked what's the difference between plus and regular.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because I did some quick glancing so I can come up with some questions about everything. And they were showing that top rated sellers plus, or there's going to be new listing requirements for each.
So it may be where the difference in the numbers are in the percentages of how many cases and how many canceled transactions. And so that one, I'm really sorry that I think the numbers, I think it's so close in where you're at. So that one, I really don't know the difference. So I'll say I don't know the difference between the two.
Yeah, I know one that I glanced at, it said 0.3% for top rated, but 7.0% for all sellers.
So that would be you wouldn't be top rated, but I mean you would be 0.3 for top rated, but where is it for top rated plus? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're going to merge top rated and top rated plus together. I don't know. They didn't even talk about it there.
Okay. Well, now you know where some of the questions might come for in the group soon.
Yeah, exactly.
And let's I did that one. I did. Okay. Have you looked into the changes that are becoming in item specifics and category changes? Or catalog updates? I mean, sorry.
Yeah, I looked at my categories of where the changes are, and I have to give you a real shout out to the category team at eBay. I had some issues with some item specifics that were showing up on mobile under my category and counted cross stitch on some patterns. And I mentioned it to one of the girls, and within an hour, she had found the girl that was ahead of it, brought her over from the eBay campus to see me at the event. And the girl wasn't even going to attend the event until later that evening. And she came over, we sat down, we talked about it. I'm very pleased with the changes that they did in sewing patterns. They had clothing all over the place. They had women's, and then they had it broken down to all these subcategories. A lot of people are complaining. I think they streamlined it, and I think you're going to get a lot better chance of being seen because there won't be so many miscategorized items.
Okay. We have another question from Thrift Daddy. I'm going to ask you near the end of the show if you'll come back on for an actual show about stitching and all that. But Thrift Daddy asks, is the cross-stitch niche more long tail or fast nickel?
Facebook, it's very fast nickel. But that's because I've got a following of people that are looking for a lot of the out of print patterns. But I would say I'm consistent. But I know what's selling, and not all cross stitch sells. If you go into a thrift store and you see a big cross stitch kit that's 8.5 by 11 and it sells, and it's $1. Don't even do research on it. Pick it up and buy it. Just make sure it's sealed. But if it doesn't sell, if it's only worth $5, mix it in a lot with other patterns or other kits that you paid, $1 for, and you can make more money. But for example, a lot of people would walk by patterns like this. This is just a company that I carry. And this is just a cross stitch pattern that you can pick up anywhere, in garage sales and stuff like that people never stitched. And I'll tell you a secret about cross stitchers. Cross stitchers feel they have to have every pattern, but they're only going to stitch about, 10 of them in their lifetime, but they've got, some of them's got thousands of them. It takes a long time to stitch something like this. This is a pattern that I sell on eBay for $11.99 or $12.99. And, you know, you can pick these kind of things up. If you see them for a quarter somewhere at a thrift store, pick them up. And if they're not going to sell, you know, some of them, the things I would stay away from are country, because country went out in the 80s. Those are kind of hard ones to sell. Baby items, hard to sell because they made millions of them. But there are certain things that sell really well. There's a company called the Prairie Schooler that is now going out of business in January. I'll show you one of their books because I just happened to sell this today on eBay. This is the logo of the company called the Prairie Schooler. You can pick these up for 25, 50 cents. These are, it's just a pattern inside, a pattern in the back. These patterns right now, I sold 3 today, not of this exact one, $44.99, $39.99, and $69.99. Now, not all of them are out of print right now. So what I did is I recently bought a whole bunch of them that I'm going to hold on to, because I can hold on to them for a year or two. And then when they're gone, everybody's going to be going, oh, they're gone, I need them. Well, where are they going to go? They're going to go to eBay and they're going to find me, and I'm going to have them.
Okay. Berta Bell asks, are kits better or finished stitchery?
Okay, so there's two. It's a totally different question. Both are good in many ways, okay? Some are, okay, depends on the kit. If you can find kits that are Christmas stockings in any format of embroidery, felt, needlepoint, cross stitch, they all do really well. Christmas stockings people really want, and you can get a lot of money for them. Other kits, if they're samplers, if they're animals, fantasy, those do really well. But if you see the country stuff or kitchen stuff, those don't do so well. Now, the thing is about finished cross stitch, you have to know what that finished cross stitch is going to look like and if it's worth selling, because a lot of people will buy finished cross stitch and claim that they did it and gift it or hang it in their homes. And so it's got to be really good. And so one way to keep that in mind when you're looking at finished needlework, especially on cross stitch, you're going to have your crosses cross. That's where you get cross stitch. You want to make sure that all the top threads are laying in the same direction. If you've got, you know, top threads that are laying like this and some laying like this, you know, different directions, that's not good stitching. And believe me, I've seen some stitching out there that have just gone, whoa, you know, there's no way this is ever going to sell. But again, it's theme. If you find, you know, if you find something that's personalized and it's, you know, Susan's birth certificate, you know, you pass on that because nobody's going to buy that. But don't rule out if you see something, welcome to the Thomas house, because you can sell that. Same with personalized Christmas stockings. You can sell those. If it's got a name like Chris or Cindy, people will buy those. So something to really keep in mind.
Okay. The reason I brought up the item specific and the catalog questions, because I saw the quilt thing said it was moved from somewhere. It's like, that's why I figured that's your area. So I thought maybe you can hit on that a little bit so somebody have an idea of what changes might be coming.
Yeah, and they're not that big of changes. What they had is they had it in duplicate areas. They had it in 2 or 3 different areas. So they had it under sewing, and then they had it under quilting, and then they had it under collectibles or under vintage. And so they just kind of moved it into one area.
Okay. So they're trying maybe slowly trying to work into their own separate of quilting under sewing. So
yes. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if any more questions. Berta just asked, what about vintage stitchery?
Well, it depends on what it is. If you can find an old sampler that says, you know, like 1810 or 1905, just buy it and send it to me because I collect them. But anyway, if you find those kind of things, yeah, pick those up. If you find samplers will have the alphabet and they will have numbers. That's what specifies a sampler. But if you can find scenery, animals, those tend to do really well. I sell a lot of pre-finished cross stitch that I pick up along the way. If it's framed well and it's been professionally framed, leave it in the frame. Very expensive to have items framed. But if the frame's not in great shape, go ahead and take it out of the frame and sell it so that they can frame it.
Okay. Anything coming up on the eBay calendar that you know of that either new sellers or even experienced sellers should keep an eye out for?
Wow. Not that, I mean, the eBay community and the new eBay top executives are going to be having webinars talking about the Seller Hub. They're going to be having, they're writing a lot on the business blog. Laura Chambers, who's a head of trust, is very, very vocal on, about listening to eBay. I was involved the other day in a Facebook chat that lasted an hour that had Jordan and Laura asking all kinds of questions. This team right now under Devin Wenig really listens. If you approach them in a positive way instead of this, oh my gosh, I hate the new mobile app, but say, hey, the mobile app is a little clunky because it's not what I used to like, but here's some suggestions I have. They're going to listen to you. And that's the same way we need to be approaching our customers. When we think our customers, our buyers have said, oh, you broke this item or it's not as described. Be nice to them and approach them in that way that you want a resolve. Put yourself in the buyer's perspective. This is what eBay is doing now. They're trying to be the seller. Every person I talk to is selling on the site. All of these executives are selling on the site. They're getting the feel of what it's like to be a seller. And I love that. That's been my suggestion for the past 17 years, that every eBay employee needs to sell 5 items and completely go through the process to get the feel of it. Well, they don't stop at 5 now. Some of those executives had big numbers, and I'm really, really proud of that.
Okay. We do have another question about stitchery.
Go figure.
Well, that's why if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to invite you on again to have an actual topic of stitchery and stuff like that.
That'd be great.
But the main reason I had you on was because of the follow-up date, and I knew where you had been at the bash, and so I wanted to be one of the first ones to get it out, but that didn't happen. The question is from Lisa Woodall. Is it better to sell finished items without the frame?
Okay, I just went over that. And so, Lisa, what I would do is if it is professionally framed and the frame is in good shape, yes, it'll give a lot of value to the item, because in order to have cross stitch framed, it's very expensive. But if the frame is real beat up or the item is framed not real well and it's crooked or it's just not framed well, take it out of the frame and sell it unframed. But do not throw away those frames if it's professionally done. I've paid up to $500 to have framing done.
Wow.
Yeah. Framing is not cheap. Framing is not cheap.
Okay, one of the things I noticed when I did look at the upcoming calendar type of thing that I asked you about, Halloween night on the 31st, they're going to have a new restocking fee selection. Can you discuss it if you know anything about it?
Yeah, that is new to me. I don't know a thing about it. I have never heard of such a thing.
Well, I guess
where did you hear about it?
I was just going down the seller update page, and I was just clicking on different things, and it happened to be one of the calendar, the eBay calendar up and coming.
Maybe I should be following that because I didn't know anything about it.
Because I know a lot of your costies, as you like to call them, and others do have restocking fees. So I guess there's going to have new selections to get your money back right from the refund from the seller, the buyer. So you don't even have to do it in your head. They'll automatically be doing it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I also run a Facebook group. When he mentioned my costies, I run a Facebook group called Cindy's Online Selling Tips, and we call ourselves Costies, C-O-S-T. And we had a large presentation at the bash. There were a number of us there. I think there might have been 30 or 40 of us there, and we had a great time. But I will follow up on that Halloween thing because I'm not a big fan of Halloween, but I tell you what, Halloween cross stitch has made me a ton of money. So if you do run across cross stitch or needlepoint in Halloween, grab it.
I'm laughing at my, I guess that's tentative for next week. The albatross said, crap, time to start learning framing.
Oh yeah, exactly. Learn framing. But I tell you what, to frame needlework is hard, especially needlepoint. You have to block it, and you have to, it's really difficult. But I do all my framing myself. My son, who sells on eBay, has a mat cutter, and he's a woodworker. That's what he does for a living. So I don't have to frame. I don't have to, and I don't do big difficult projects anymore. But we do have our own line of aviation patterns that are coming out. We have 41 World War II airplanes that are coming out in the next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that'll be pretty fun.
Dave at Monet Court says that they are going to have an option for a restocking fee in the new returns form.
Awesome. Thank you, David. What would I do without you? David is brilliant. Brilliant.
I'm going to have to see if I can get him on the show one of these weeks.
Yes, he's a shipping expert. He knows shipping better than anybody I've ever seen.
Okay, and I think we kind of covered this. I don't know why I asked the same question, but I was asking about, can you explain the seller standards the new standards that are coming out in February? But we're kind of covering that as it is.
Yeah, just remember, I will state this, make sure your inventory is correct, because if you have a seller cancellation, it's going to kill you. It's going to hurt you badly because the numbers have come down. The percentages have come down. And also, if you have an issue with a buyer, you take care of it immediately. You resolve that issue and you won't get a defect. There's only 2 requirements, and those should be what you are doing with customer service. And I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, I've noticed we're still getting a lot of people in some of the groups I'm in, not just yours, complaining about eBay needs to change this, needs to change this. And I said, have you read the update yet?
Exactly. And I'm going to tell everybody, don't listen to all the people telling you what the update is. Read it. It's very simple. I'm giving you what it is, but read it so you understand it yourself. There's videos on the site. If you Google 2015 eBay fall update, you're going to find all kinds of videos that Christy's done, who works at eBay, and that other employees have done. And I'm telling you, this has been the best update for sellers. And I'm going to tell you, I think 2016 at eBay is going to be the year of the seller. Devin promised us that when he became president, and I believe it.
I'm getting shout out because Thrift Daddy said I'm making him money. He just had a ka-ching.
Oh, that's cool. But don't give Chris all the credit. It's because you're listening to me.
Okay, where was I going to ask that? Oh, wait. What are some of the tips that you can give for advanced sellers? Because usually my show's for the newbie / young ones, but I'm trying to get more information out for people that have experience but may not know the newest things to take advantage of.
So what I suggest, and this is huge, you got to use the best keywords you can in your titles and not use exclamation points, all capitals. Don't use all capitals. Use title case, so the first letter of every word is capitalized. Do not use words like cool and groovy and all of that, because those items are just not searchable. You want what someone would go in, say for example, they wanted to buy this coffee cup. What would they search for? And I would say how many ounces it is, what it says on the coffee cup, instead of groovy, awesome, unique, You know, I stay away from all of those kind of terms. In your description, you don't need to tell customers to leave you a good feedback. You don't need to tell customers you love them. You don't need to tell customers that you hate them. What you want is you want that item described. You want to tell them and show them that you're going to get it shipped to them quickly because of what your turnaround time is. And so you want it to be simple, but if it has any flaws, point them out and take excellent, excellent pictures. I only buy on mobile. And if I do a search, I'm going to see your first picture, make that your most important picture, have all your photos in gallery and not embedded in your description. People are still using these templates down in their description. You've lost me. I'm not going to open up your description if I can't tell what your item looks like in your first picture up there.
Okay, I gotta read a comment from Harry Butt Picker.
Okay.
It is truly a blessing that someone like Cindy gives her knowledge over and over again. So enthusiastic, such an eBay ambassador. Thanks for giving eBay a great positive presence.
Wow. Thank you. I don't know who that is, but hey, I guess I have a fan.
I don't know.
Thank you.
That's the first time you were for me too that I know of, unless they were using a different name. So, well,
Okay, and it's not me, so. But thank you very much. And I love eBay. eBay changed my life. It allows me to stay home and raise my little boy and be home. And now that my husband's retired, I can wake up in the morning and see how many items I have to ship and know what my schedule is going to be for the day. So if we want to take off, we drive a Russian sidecar motorcycle, and we can, if the weather's good, we can go, hey, let's go this way today, or, you know, we've only got an hour to ride today, or whatever. But it gives me a chance to be my own boss, and I don't think I could ever go back to work for someone else.
Coco Chanel, yes, a couple of Cindy's admins for her groups is in the chat. That's Monet, Score, and Carolyn. So, yeah, they're very close to Cindy. She's known to go. Well, why don't you explain how last weekend went for you, Cindy?
In Maryland, so Carolyn Pritchett, who's one of my admins and one of my dearest friends in the world, has an event every year where she invites all the COST members to come that live on the East Coast to come for a day at her home and visit and chat and get to know each other. This is the second year we've done it. David Rayer and I travel together. He lives in California. He tends to pick me up in Utah, where I hop on the plane and we fly together. This year I had to wait for him because he went a different route. He went through, but anyway, we travel a lot. David spent 11 days with me this last few days, and he says he was done. He was because I'm a social butterfly. My son says I suffer from OES, over excessive socialization. You know, I've never met a stranger and I'll talk to anybody. So it's hard to rope me in sometimes because I'm always there to want to help people. But Carolyn opened up her home, cooked for all of us, let us all stay there. We hung out. We had a number of people that stayed there for the whole time. And then a lot of people came in on Sunday to visit. And then Monday, we were able to also spend an extra day with two of our other people that drove down, three actually. Mena Charlie drove down from Delaware, and Amanda came over with her darling little girl, and we all went thrifting, and we had a great time. Went out picking and picked up a lot of really incredible stuff to sell. And we did the same thing in California. David and I went out with another one of our admins, Stephanie Abernathy, and she was buying up. She buys plush and sells plush and baby supplies. And today she showed us she sold one of the items she paid $1 for $21 that she had. That she took them home, washed them, got them listed, and sells them. And so she sells baby items and plush and does an incredible job. But a big shout out to Carolyn Pritchett. She is amazing and a brilliant, brilliant antique expert.
And then you went right from there to San Jose for the eBay events, right?
Yes. Yeah. Then we went to the eBay events, and we were there for 3 or 4 nights. I was there for 4 nights. I stayed. We had one of our members came down from Canada, and we just had a wonderful, wonderful event. eBay treated us really well. Every person that attended got a $100 gift certificate, gift card to buy on eBay. Unfortunately, I lost mine. Don't know what happened to it, but if you ever get an opportunity to go to an eBay event, highly recommend it. There was plenty of food, plenty of drinks, and it was amazing. They know how to throw a party. And one of the greatest things to me was we went from a big keynote talk to the event right after they brought out Pierre Omidyar, the founder of eBay. We went into another room, and as we walked in across the big convention center to another room, there were about 900 employees that were in a tunnel clapping for all the sellers, thanking us. And that's pretty dang emotional. As many times as I've seen it, it's the most emotional thing going on. They are there because of us, and they appreciate that.
Yeah, I saw Dana Crawford shared it in her group. She took a Periscope video of it and shared it on Facebook.
Yes, yes. I was too busy saying hi to all the eBay employees I knew in Salt Lake City that I never get to see. So,
let's see. If there are no any other questions, I know you have some business to take care of, and we got a comment from Coco saying, "Mom, I think your son is hungry."
Yes, he is hungry. He's making cereal behind me. Oh, what is it? Oh, it's Top Ramen. Yeah, I'm a great mother. Feeding the 13-year-old Top Ramen.
Great. I have my own responsibilities.
Oh, he said he's got his own responsibilities. He can make his own ramen. So.
That's it. I don't have any more questions myself, so if you don't mind giving a few minutes, see if there's any more last-minute questions from the viewers.
Yeah, I just want to say, guys, if you ever have needlework questions or anything, just PM me. I'm very, I'm open. I'm there to help. I pretty much know needlework, especially counted cross stitch, needlepoint, that kind of stuff. If you're out and you say, hey, is this worth buying? If it's $1 or $2, don't even question it. Just buy it, except for little kits. Those, don't buy those unless they're really worth something. Look for Dimensions Gold, but I always look for the United States, made in the U.S. They've now kind of hoarded themselves out and have moved to China. Some of those can go for big money. Christmas stocking kits, pre-finished Christmas stocking kits. And what I want to say about eBay and the new seller update, eBay's listening. eBay loves you guys. They love sellers. And if you kind of gave up on eBay in the last year or two, I would recommend coming back, because I've been listing and my sales are through the roof. And I'm getting back up there to where I was. And I'm not even listing as much as I was before because I'm so busy selling in the Facebook group. But boy, I'm really going to be concentrating and getting ready for Q4. Even though I don't sell a lot in Q4 because a lot of people have already bought their cross stitch to make items, but a lot of people get gift money and whatever, so they come to me to buy supplies as gifts for themselves. But I would, if you've been kind of down on eBay because of sales, because of whether it was the Google slapdown or the security breach, give it a chance. I think you guys are going to be really happy.
We do have a question from Berta Bell, but it's more about the event. She heard they have an event coming up in Chicago.
Yes, there's a seller a big seller e-commerce group having an event in Chicago. Unfortunately, I'm not going, but I know that Gladys Ramos, one of my admins, will be speaking there. It's run by Mark and Robin Levine of Bubble Fast, and Nuria Sayok and her husband, who is a funniest story. I had not met him before, and he said that the lady on the plane coming out to San Jose was not too happy because he forgot his headphones for his phone, and he was listening to me on a webcast. And he tells the lady, but I'm listening to Cindy Sorley, so don't bother me, or whatever. But Rick, I felt horrible. I can't remember his first name, but they are running it. It's supposed to be an incredible event, and it's going to be for not just eBay, but e-commerce.
Okay, well, we know you sell on Etsy. Do you also sell on Amazon, correct?
I do sell on Amazon, but I don't sell a lot of needlework on Amazon. I sell mostly books that I've picked up that I've scanned, and I sell quite a bit of vacuum bags. I know that's weird. I don't know why, but I always tend to find expensive vacuum bags. I also sell a few kits, but most of the stuff I sell is not needlework related. Amazon's just not the place that a lot of people go for needlework, and I can make more money on those items on eBay instead of sending them to FBA. And I don't like to do the crush channel where they fulfill my items, because if someone buys an item on eBay, they don't expect it to come in an Amazon box. And I've gotten a negative for that. So I stopped that about 2 years ago, or a year ago.
Okay, Carolyn Pritchard is saying that you can find the information for the e-com event in Chicago at Just Ask Gladys, if it's Gladys's page.
Awesome. That is right. Just Ask Gladys. And I tell you what, if you guys, I'm going to give a shout out to Gladys Ramos, because that is one girl that knows, SEO, and she knows about why you should use item specifics and use them. Use them. If you are not listing with item specifics, you're not being seen in Google. And if you ever need a store review, or you ever need something, I don't endorse many people, but I will endorse Gladys with everything I've got. And I'm not one to endorse a lot of people, but I do recommend.
Well, for people that might catch this later, we did have Gladys on the show at least 2 times that I can remember, and we will try getting her on again. So
she's amazing, amazing. Very blessed to have her, helping a lot of people that need help.
Okay, and let's see, I'm not seeing any more questions. So with all that being said, I want to thank everybody for the few questions that we did get. And like I said, Cindy, I'm glad we have you back on for about actual patterns and stitching and stuff like that.
That'd be great. I'd be happy to do it anytime. I can bring some samples of what to look for and different items. And I'm happy to help you guys, and I'm available, readily available. And if you have any questions, you can email me at cindy@cindysorley.com. It's S as in Sam, ORLEY. So just message me if you have any questions. And I am on Facebook a lot of times, even though I show up as being online. I'm not online 24 hours a day, but I do have it opened. So message me. I get back to you pretty quickly.
And next week, we will be having the Albatross tentatively scheduled for next week. And we will be talking about walking and busing to garage sales and stores and stuff like that. Cindy, I don't know if that's part of why my nickname came out of walking picker. It's because I actually walk to garage sales and certain thrift stores in my general area, or I take a bus. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. I think that's great. And Chris, I give you a lot of credit. I really admire you. So
thank you. Let's check one last time for any last minute questions. They are not. There's no question that I can see.
So next time I won't, be by my kitchen, but this is where I've been working from the last few weeks. And I'll have it cleaned up. But this is my typical counter of, of what it is. I'm an eBay seller.
All right, everybody, I want to thank you. And thanks again, Cindy. We will see you all next week. And have a good week.
Thank you very much. And I'll talk to you guys soon.